it was hard to not be overshadowed. Can you speak a little bit about your relationship, especially when it comes to her encouraging you to join the family business, as it were, and be a filmmaker?
She never encouraged me to join the family business. What makes her special is that she encouraged me to be myself. And I think one of the reasons why I never felt, we talked about yesterday, swallowed in the vastness of this shadow or overshadowed by her presence is because it was so clear that we were the spotlight that she craved, and not the spotlight of vanity, and not the spotlight of her fame. It is so easy for an actor to crave that adulation, and for that adulation to become an addiction. And my mother was born with this unsinkable groundedness, where she never believed the hype. She never believed the people that surrounded her, that told her that she was the most, whatever that was. She always believed in being true to herself, being true to her roots, and really just following her heart. And when we were born, it was so clear that we were her heart, my brother and me. And so it was all quite organic, essentially. It was all quite natural. Then I grew to understand the artist that she was, not so much through the magazine covers, not so much through the autographs before there were selfies, which are unbearable. I learned about her craft through her preparation. When she would have conversations with either the director or the costume designer or even the makeup artists, I would always sit in a corner and I would watch her talk about what she was envisioning for this character or that character. And that, in the end, made me understand that, yes, filmmaking at some point becomes an art. But what matters for all of us doing it is that we have to believe in the craft of it.
So you observed her, engaging in these dialogues, and you observed her process, and then you were a collaborator, and you worked with her through that process. So share a little bit for the audience here about what it's like being on set, not just with Sophia Loren, but with your mother.
Well, the good news about Sophia Loren is that when she's on set, she's not at all Sophia Loren. She's Sophia, and Sophia with an F, not with a PH. In other words, she's a team player, and they can attest to this. She's like all of us at the service. Like, our boss is the story, her boss is the character, and we're all here to create moments that hopefully will inspire people, hopefully will move people in some way, hopefully will inform people about their own lives in some form or fashion. And so when you work with her, you work with a woman who is so in love with her profession that whenever she commences a movie, she feels like it's her very first movie, which is incredible because she brings such spontaneity, freshness, and this youthful anxiety to the project that it electrifies all of us. There is zero jadedness in her. There's never a moment where she says, I've done this before, it's okay, I know how to do it, don't worry. Never. Every shot is like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. Oh my God, I won't be able to do this. And her process is always anxiety, fear, then of course she achieves gloriously well, and then she's happy with herself. And but she has to climb the mountain in order to feel on top of the mountain. She's not born on top of the mountain. She's a woman born at the foot of the mountain.
With each project.
With each moment of every project.
It's incredible. And I have the same question to the film's producers. Patricia, what did it mean to be shepherding a project into reality with Sophia as part of it? What did it mean for you personally?
It meant a lot, of course. What I want to say, it's been a huge privilege to watch Sophia work. I mean, I want to join Edoardo in what he was saying before. I mean, every day, I've spent weeks and weeks on set with her. I mean, directed by this wonderful man here, and she always. I saw her coming to set and bring not only, how can I say, her talent, her experience, but also her and her charm, of course, but also her wit. And the extreme generosity also. I really can say that the whole crew was totally in love with her. And so it was, as I said, it was a great privilege. And also I want to add that the relationship between Edoardo and Sophia, is really the engine of this movie. So it's been great.
Nicola, same question for you.
For me, it's very easy. And very simple. If you decide to do my job, that is producer, the best thing that could happen to you is produce a movie with Sophia Loren. So you could retire tomorrow and be happy. But let me just say a big thank to Sophia, because this was a gift. The combination of her professionality and talent in the day by day, in the minor things, was a great lesson for me, for the crew, for all the people around her. And I also want to thank you, Edoardo, for his talent, his passion, and if I say, his precision. He's very precise on the set.
Talk a little bit more about what that means, about his precision. How can you describe that?
I want to say in general that the professional level was very high, but there was also a sort of family on the set, and the complicity between Edoardo and Sophia in specific moments, before a scene, after a scene, was a great mix of, once more, professionality, but also emotions, feelings, and I hope you will find these feelings in the screening in a while. So this mix, I think, was the best thing, the main driver of the movie, and adding probably authenticity. So all the choices that Edoardo made were directed to achieve authenticity in terms of storytelling, characters, location, sounds, and so I think this was the main goal of the movie, to explore this universe of let's say, love and acceptance.
And so, if Sophia was maybe the entry point, or the most enticing thing about working on this film, or one of the most enticing things, I'm curious what else attracted you to this project? Because I know that you were thinking about adapting this story for a while. So what was it that finally led you to pursue this adaptation as a film project?
It was something gestating in me for a very long time, as you say. I had read the book La Vie d'Orsois by Romain Gary when I was a teenager, and it never left my nightstand. It was always there, hovering. And one day, I decided that it was the right time, you know, and the process is very unconscious, you know. The biggest decisions of my life, I did not know a second before that I was going to do them. I did not know a second before that I was going to ask my wife to marry me.
Oh.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, she's right there. She can attest.
You know.
Because you let your heart speak, and when your heart speaks, you don't censor. And so the same thing with this. I felt it was right. It was the right moment, and I approached my mother, who had loved the book as well, and we embarked on this journey. The book had been already adapted once, starring Simone Signoret, a wonderful French actress. The movie was called Madame Rosa. And the big difference in the adaptation between that wonderful movie and our film is that we stay true to the point of view of Romain Gary in the book, which is really, the whole story is told through Momo, the young child. And this was really our way in, to really try to be as authentic to his voice as possible.
And we'll come back to speaking about him because his performance is remarkable. But I wanted to ask if Nicola or Patricia had anything to add about what else brought you in, the story or the opportunity to work with Edoardo. What was it that was also enticing?
Everything started in a dinner. It was an Italian dinner, so a very long dinner. We had time to explore the project, but after a few minutes, we were already talking about minor things, details, and this was the good sign for us, for all of us, that we were pretty sure it would happen. So, I mean, the way Edoardo was describing the adaptation in Italy, which was at Bari in Puglia, a very particular town, with a lot of life, contradictions, and this kind of universe that he was already seeing was for us the main driver to take the decision, and it was a pretty fast process, by the way, to make it happen.
Yes, Puglia has been a great choice in terms of locations. We shot,
Into the microphone.
we shot under the hot sun of Puglia, and yeah, I think it was a wonderful backdrop to the story, and because it was at the same time, I mean, sunny and dramatic at the same time, so perfect fit for the story. And also the casting process has been great. So we met also with that wonderful young co-star Ibrahim. And when I was speaking about generosity of Sophia and Edoardo, I mean, they both embraced him, and so I'm very supportive of him. He was, by the way, great. And so it's also the other actors, all the cast was also great.
I mean, not just embraced him, but didn't he move in with you for a bit?
Yeah, it was, you know, it was very important. And so Ibrahim Gueye is this wonderful young Senegalese actor who, before we cast him, had never ever acted in his life. He came in the audition room almost by accident, and he was the very first young man that I saw. After him, I saw another 300. But I kept on going back to, yes, but they're not like Ibra. They're not like that. And what I loved about him in the audition is that the audition scene was one of the first scenes in the movie where he's trying to convince this other guy to buy these candelabra that he had stolen off of him. So he's trying to barter, etc. And so he was supposed to enter the room and start that scene. But for some reason, as he tried to enter the room, the door got stuck. And he couldn't get in. And then he finally forced his way in. But he used that in the scene. He used the fact that he couldn't open the door to make us laugh and he created a moment. And this is what we're always looking for, right? To find actors who create moments that we as directors didn't think of. because we always stand on the shoulders of other people's imaginations, and sometimes we say, that's a better idea than I had thought of. Let's go with that. And so he was naturally very creative, naturally very resourceful like this, and he had this natural gift of existing in front of the camera. And you'll see in the screen, on the screen, the inner life that he has in his eyes. So obviously, when you have this young actor, who lives in Italy, who is now going to act opposite, Sophia Loren. So, you have to protect him, because I can't even imagine the day that he got the role, what happened in his town, what happened at home, what happened around. So I had to, because of the nature of their relationship at the beginning, which is very antagonistic, I had to demystify my mother in his eyes so that he could be the character in the movie, the character that is irreverent, that is rather insulting to her, all these things. And in the first rehearsals, it was problematic because he didn't dare go there, which is normal because
Understandable.
because he's a But then he himself had an amazing instinct at the end of one rehearsal, and this is not, you would expect a kid from LA to maybe have that instinct because he heard one day when he was playing inside the actor's studio, so he might have heard something. But this really, he's never. So he walks up to my mother at the end of the rehearsal and he says, Sophia, every time that I have to be mean to you, with you, it really, really upsets me. So could I ask your permission? And she was like, absolutely, it's no problem. You can be as mean as you want. And from that day on, he was so mean. And I was so happy. But he had these instincts, it was him. It was him.
And so lovely that they were able to develop their relationship off screen to then.
Yeah, which by the way, and that's another thing. So in order to develop the relationship on screen, we lived all together. So during the whole shooting process, we ended up renting a house all together. And I wanted him to know my mother the way that I know her, watching TV, at breakfast, with makeup, without makeup, etc. And so they were able to build a rapport, walking in the garden together, sitting on the bench and saying nothing, sitting side by side. All these things, in the end, of course, helped to demystify, because when you're working with such an icon in Italy, you have to do that. If not, the relationship will never be the right one for the movie.
I'm so curious, and of course we're doing this before the film, so I want this to be without spoilers, but I'm curious what each of you see as being the relevance of this story today. It's an adaptation of an older story that's been made into another film. It's been transported to Italy, right? So what, for you, Nicola, is the relevance of the story in this film today?
Many things, but if I have to choose one word, is about, I would say, universal love and acceptance. So I think it's very easy to understand why it's so relevant today.
Mm-hmm.
Patricia, same question.
I would say the same. It's yes. Acceptance, love, and the growth of a relationship, which is so also unlikely and special in the end. So it's this love and acceptance. I agree.
Yeah, it's a movie about courage and empathy, the courage to accept the love of others and the empathy to open your heart to people that you might not immediately find a connection to. But then as your heart opens, then so many unexpected things enter your heart, because life and love have a much greater imagination than we do as human beings.
Did you look at my cards? Because my next question was about empathy. I'm not kidding.
Of course.
And
Obviously.
I know that you, I've read interviews with you that, you know, you identify as a bit of an empath, or entirely an empath, so maybe you knew I was going to ask that. But this film has so much care for its characters. That really comes through in your directing choices. And so I'm curious whether you think, as a director, having empathy helps you in your job. Do you think that it is necessary for a director to be empathic?
No. It's necessary for me. But there are as many directing styles as there are directors. Some directors need to be dictators. Some directors need to be best friends. Some directors need to be lovers, and that's a problem. I need to feel one with my actors. I need to find a true partnership, very much like the way I work with my mother. You know, if I do the job correctly, after a week, we will establish a certain telepathy with one another, because I will know enough about their lives and they will know enough about my intentions to kind of bridge any gap of misunderstanding or anything. And so then you start creating moments, you know, and they, unfortunately for me, they know exactly when they know, like, I can't lie about being happy or not being happy, because I have this thing inside of me. The only thing I look for when I'm shooting a scene, whether it's a dramatic scene or a comical scene, it doesn't matter. It's not about whether it's dramatic or comical. It just needs to be true, and the dramatic part or the comical part will be taken care of by the actual script. And I have this thing inside. If it's true, I will get emotional. So everybody knows, if he cries, we're moving on to the next shot. If he doesn't cry, it's a problem. We're going to keep on going until he cries. And so there is that rapport that is established. But in order for me to understand that person's truth, I have to slowly get to know them, or quickly get to know them, to understand when they hit their truth. And when that happens, we can move on.
And I think this must be something that you either instinctually or intentionally learned from your mother, because as we were mentioning earlier, she doesn't fake it. She can't do anything that she doesn't actually believe. So with that, I think we should watch this movie together.